Whew, looks like I'm live. Okay, cool. All right, the only thing. Okay, yes, live. Oh, okay, perfect. Okay, it pops up comments. Okay, awesome. Getting this all set up and squared away. So I really love going live. So this I take a devout stance against edited videos. I have created my entire online business. Hello, Rhonda, without editing videos. I have a YouTube channel without editing videos. All right, so I'm going to let people flow on in. If you are watching this video from the YouTube channel, you are watching a recording of a live stream that I do on my Facebook. Facebook is the place that I love to be and hang out with and interact on. Feel free to follow me on Facebook and or you can friend me. But if you send me a friend request, please also send me a message so I know you're serious and that you're not some crazy scammer. But I would love for you to be in my world. If you are on my YouTube and my world, I'm very heavy on the Facebook. That is how I built my I used YouTube funneling people to Facebook. So if you're on the YouTube channel, just come to my Facebook page, Melissa Dillon, same name, same picture. And this is where I love to hang out the most. And then I'll get these videos uploaded over to YouTube as well. All right. Hello. Okay. I see some people coming in. So hello, Rhonda, Georgette. Woohoo. And she's my new adoptive mom. Hello, Tavia. Hello from Connecticut. Raven. Hello. Yes. Tina. Hello. Isaiah. Awesome. Rhonda, hello, beautiful. Thank you. All right. So what today is, I will do my best to interact with the comments while we're watching as well. My goal for this is to go over how it is that I created a 6-figure business in 1 year using YouTube and Facebook. And I'm super excited to show you how. And I barely just finished because I'm not perfectly organized. I'm not perfectly structured. I am a flawed individual who struggles with accomplishing tasks, and yet I did it. I built the 6-figure brand in 1 year, actually less than 1 year. It was the 11th month that we crossed into 6 figures, and it has just been exponential pretty much the whole time. And I'm going to break down everything for you, what I did, how I did it, and the money that was made while going through it. And so much of this, okay? So I'm really going to focus on the business right now. And, the numbers associated to the business, the YouTube numbers, the money numbers and things like that. But I'm telling you that none of this would have been possible without mindset, without healing trauma, without understanding that we are, as humans, as Americans, as people, as society, within our family members, we are programmed and conditioned to believe certain things, to operate certain ways. Within my childhood, it was pretty traumatic, and I was always afraid. I was always thinking and worried about how my father may react. And so I have this program trained mind to think, worry, fear, and doubt all the time. So even though I'm out of my childhood and my father is not within my life creating any chaos, my mind is still wired to worry, doubt, and fear, worst case situation all the time. And it was going deep in that and beginning to heal that. It's not like I'm fully perfect yet. It's not like I never have a fear or a doubt or a worry, but it's no longer my main mode of operation, nor is it the voice I listen to anymore. So when I have fear, doubt, or worry, I take deep breaths, I do some breathing exercises, I do some meditations, I reach out to my business coach, my support system, my Woo and Do mentor, Christine Hayes, who's absolutely fantastic at everything. So much of what I have learned to create and build this business, including the mindset, has come from her. She is the Woo and the Do coach. She does the Woo, which is the spiritual side, the healing side, and then the Do, she comes from Coca-Cola and Victoria's Secret and being a high corporate figure within those things. So she has a lot of business skills and things like that. So I absolutely love having her as a business coach. In fact, I started with her. I found her and her programs before I even launched my business and before I even quit my job. So I was still a full-time corporate worker and I wasn't yet ready to break. I wanted to. And then once I got into her programs, it was so much easier to just seal the deal and make it happen. Another group of people I want to shout out is Aaron Dowdy and Victor Odo. They had a full-time purpose group where, and they're running a new one soon. They taught how, they're more into the spiritual side, the coaching side, the law of attraction, your vibration, how you're operating and stuff like that as humans. And they really got me into the idea of I can have a YouTube channel and that it can be successful and that you can, make money. I watched them make $100,000 in front of me during a 3-day challenge where they taught, things for 3 days. And then at the end of 3 days, they made an offer and it was $1,000. And each person that signed up, that was $1,000. They had 100 people sign up. $100,000. They made 6 figures after 3 days, right? And I was like, damn. And Aaron Dowdy, he makes little videos where he holds up a little board and talks about it like a board. And I was like, dude, if he can do that, so can I. And my struggle was, though, I went through their full-time purpose in August of 2022, but at the time I was still a corporate worker and I was working at a pre-licensing company, basically a corporate company of what I do now. Now I do it all by myself. And I was too scared to leave them and start a YouTube channel, not knowing that it could be, not fully sure that it could be successful. I had a lot of fears, worries, and doubts. I wanted a steady paycheck. I needed health benefits. I was a little too scared to just leave my corporate job. And so I, at that time, was like, well, maybe I can start a YouTube channel on something else. But nothing really landed for me. And then when I found Christine Hayes, it was the magical, I can do this on my own. I can work by myself. I can create a business. And I don't need this steady paycheck. And I don't need to worry about securing this job, that I can do what I need to do and accomplish what I need to do. Maybe August 2021. Sorry, 2021. So I did the full-time purpose in 2021, and then it was 2022 of January that I started. Thank you so much, Raven. I met Raven. She's also a fantastic sister. She is so incredible at cheering me on and just building me up, and she does her own coaching with people, and she's fantastic. So thank you, Raven, so much. And I met her in the full-time purpose group. So I ultimately, after working with Christine, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to quit my job, my corporate company. I am going to start my own YouTube channel and somehow run a business. And I really didn't know exactly how this was going to go down. I just knew that if I could get on YouTube and I could teach people these insurance concepts the same way I was doing at my corporate company, that it would somehow work out. I didn't know the how, and it's so important. This is another thing about mindset. We need to know the how. How will I do it? How will it happen? How will I make the money? And we are so terrified to do anything that we don't have that we won't do it unless we have the how. But I'm telling you, the how is stopping you. Because the thing is that in order for you to determine a how, you're using the only knowledge that is available to you now. And for me, most of my knowledge was based in corporate world and traumatized child and seeking fear, worry, and doubt all the time. And if I had trusted only on my knowledge of what I knew, I didn't know how to build a 6-figure business. I didn't know how to do that. I had no freaking idea. I'd never done it before. I had seen others do it, but it's not like I knew their intricate process by any means. So I didn't know how to do it. So when you try to figure out the how, you're relying upon your own human knowledge at the time. And you are denying the fact that you have immense knowledge available to you in the divine, in the ethers, whatever you want to, say it, God, whatever, There's so much available to you in the unknown that when you allow yourself to operate in the unknown, better ideas come in, clarity comes in. When you allow your spiritual power to be more powerful than your willpower, your human power, you tap into all kinds of knowledge. In the spiritual community, they call it downloads. So if you have no idea what I'm talking about, when you stop the fear, the worry, and the doubt, and you trust in that there is something out there that is powerful beyond you and your human existence, it will give you knowledge. It will give you insight. It will give you input. And I'm not, and like Elizabeth Gilbert talked about this. So she talks about like the ideas for books. She'll get an idea for a book. She ends up not doing it. Someone else gets the same exact idea. They do the book. The point is there's always ideas available. There is always knowledge available. There's always clarity available in the unknown. And when you force a how, when you say, I need to know how to do it, you're limiting yourself to your knowledge, your worries, your fears, your doubts. When you release and trust and go into the unknown, you are opening yourself to receiving this divine knowledge that is available to you to be able to do what it is you want to do. There's no way I could have done what I did off my own human knowledge. I had to be open to the spiritual power that was available to me, the knowledge and the clarity that is available to me when I quiet my human mind and meditate on the spiritual powers that are out there. So I know everybody has all kinds of different beliefs, but regardless, whether you see it as God, whether you see the universe as your sugar daddy, whether you just believe in the law of attraction, whether it's just vibrations, all of it is ultimately saying the same thing. Even in the Bible, ask and you shall receive. Okay, so this is God given if you follow that path. Okay. Anyway, I kind of feel like I'm going off on a tangent here, but it's all important to understand that I will give you strategy. I will lay out to you exactly what I did step by step. Okay, in this video, I'm not making you pay for it. It's all for free. There are some people who will charge this in a course. I'm going to tell you what I did. I'm going to lay it out. But I promise you that strategy is so tiny compared to your mindset and your ability to trust in the unknown and to trust that you have spiritual divine guidance available to you. That is the most powerful thing. And so I have a question and a comment. How do we get started with mindset? I started all over the place. If you're not in the spiritual world yet, I would start with Jen Sincero. She simplifies it pretty easily. I like what she says. If you're ready to dip your toes in the spiritual woo-woo-ness of it, you can start looking at Dr. Joe Dispenza on YouTube. And then, of course, I always recommend Christine Hayes. She is my coach and mentor. And my sister, Sarah Shalacy, is absolutely incredible at mindset work and behavior changes. So she teaches a up-level boot camp, and she's actually doing it right now. She just posted that's available. And she's so amazing. So if you like me, you're going to like her. Okay. We're not the same. We're not 100% the same, but we're similar. You know, a lot of people looked at us as twins when we were growing up. We are very different, but we're also very quirky, very funny, very, loving. And so she does what is called an up-level boot camp. And this is where she helps explain your emotions and your mindset and how your emotions and your mindset are connected and how you can begin becoming consciously aware of your emotions and your mindset. So you can follow my sister, Sarah Shalacy. And then on YouTube, you can look up Dr. Joe Dispenza, Eckhart Tolle. Eckhart Tolle is a little woo-woo. He's very woo-woo, but and when I say woo-woo, I mean like deep spiritual stuff. So if it's your first entry into it, Eckhart Tolle might be a little crazy. You might fall asleep while reading him. But I love, like, his book, The New Earth, radically changed my mind. There's also on YouTube, Louise Hayes has incredible audios that you can listen to. Victor Odo on YouTube, Aaron Dowdy on YouTube. But they're kind of so far now that is not necessarily maybe entry level for those who are just beginning to understand their mindset. The most entry level I would think of is my sister, to be honest, because she's so down to earth and yet very tapped into the divine power. And she has a very incredible way of explaining things and helping you understand your emotions and where they're at. And like I said, she's running a up-level boot camp starting very soon. So you can get into that with her. And I think it might be online. I'm not sure. I don't know if she's here right now. So, but you could check in with her, Sarah Shalacy, and I'll even put her profile in the comments later on. Okay, so mindset is key. Okay, Sarah Shalacy. Let me see if I can tag her. If I have, I don't seem to have a way to reply to comment. Oh wait, do I? Can I? My Facebook isn't really letting me scroll. All right, but I will get her. I'll get her in there. Okay. Yes, I will also. I can make some of these recommendations in a written. Thank you, Sarah. Priscilla. So Priscilla in the comments, she tagged my sister. Okay. So, and then thank you, Raven said she's going to tag her too. So Sarah Shalacy. So she's now tagged in the comments. Check out her Up Level Bootcamp. Absolutely incredible. I went through it myself and it was fantastic. It was so helpful. And I went through it, I think it was in July, and we'll look like the numbers in July, I think sometime around there, things kind of blew up. So, all right, so let's get started. So I was working for a corporate company teaching insurance classes. So when you want to become a insurance agent, whether life, health, property, casualty, you have to take and pass a state exam. Now, I came into this industry because I had been a middle school teacher and I was not in love with the school system. I didn't like, not only was the pay so low, but also it was just a very thankless job working many, many hours. In my last year of teaching, I was in the office from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. I was in my classroom from not an office, you get a classroom, from like 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. most nights. It was a crazy, and that's not, I mean, that can be typical of some teachers, some classes, but my last year, they had really, really messed me up in my teaching career. That was the last, I was like, I gotta get out. I can't do this again. I was hired to be the empowerment teacher, like mindset and feeling good and feeling good about life and stuff like that. And then in the middle of the year, they came to me and they said, we need you to teach social studies for your peer, and we're going to put him as you, except we're going to turn him into study hall because he's not doing very well with classroom management, and we will fire him unless you trade positions with him. So I was put on the spot that if I didn't take over social studies, they were going to fire my friend. And that didn't, I was like, how am I supposed to sit with it? Oh, Sarah joined in. So Sarah, just to update you, I had people ask about how they can work on their mindset, because I said mindset was the most important thing. I will teach strategy, but mindset is absolutely what is needed to be able to create a life of freedom 6-figure business. And I said that you are offering a boot camp. So if you can drop your deets below on that, and I hope it's online, I hope it's like remote or something, because I have people all over watching this. So Sarah Shalacy is in the comments. She is the best place to start with your mindset. And then, like I said, Jen Sincero. And then on YouTube, you've got Victor Odo, Aaron Dowdy, who else? Louise Hayes, I said. And then Dr. Joe Dispenza, and who else did I say? Eckhart Tolle, but he's a little woo-woo. And of course, Christine Hayes, my coach and mentor. So I had to quit my last year of teaching. It was just awful. I went from, being the empowerment teacher, was like one of the easiest teaching jobs I had, to now having to teach a whole new subject, like social studies, to 3 different grade levels, which was 3 different prep levels. And it was too much. I was like 29 years old and I had shingles down the middle of my back. I was so stressed out. And at that same time, I had just adopted my daughter. She was a teenager at the time. She was one of my middle school students. And she was going through a lot herself, which put me in a position to just really have a hard time with life, because I didn't understand mindset really a lot at that. Well, I understood mindset, but back then I was like, just think positive, just think positive, just think positive. And I didn't understand the mind-body connection and how your emotions play into that so much. And that's what my sister teaches, is how your emotions in your body really determine your mind. And you got to get those in sync. And like knowing with all the shingles was the one thing down the middle of my back. I also had my cortisol levels were through the roof. I had to like put these cotton pads in my mouth and soak my spit up for a while. And I had to pee in a jug so they could test my cortisol. I was walking around school with the jug of pee and I had to be refrigerated because I had to test my cortisol levels. I had multiple things going on. So I went to the Mayo Clinic and they're like, stress, it's all stress. Here's a meditation CD. I should have started listening to it at the time, but I still didn't quite understand the mind-body connection. I believe that the doctors were just, ignoring my problems. But if I had started meditating at that time, things would have been a lot better. But it all worked out. So I had to quit teaching. So I quit teaching. I started driving for Lyft. I started driving for Uber. I substitute taught because I could handle one day at a time, just not the full-time teacher. And then I found, at the time, I was searching for insurance jobs and teaching at the same time. And I landed on, because of training, I was looking for corporate training jobs because I was like, okay, then if I can't teach anymore in the school system, then I'll try corporate training. So I found corporate training insurance. Now, when I was going to college to become a teacher, I sold insurance. I worked at a call center. I liked my job. I just didn't like being at a call center. And I'm a teacher. I wanted to be able to teach. So I found the corporate company that I ended up working for 4 years. They, at the time, offered me, they said 1 to 2 classes maybe a month, which was basically about 8 hours of work. No, sorry, 4 days of 8 hours. And so 4 days of work, basically. And I said, well, in between driving Lyft and Uber and substitute teaching, this would be perfect. Now I have at least a couple multiple streams of income, enough to sustain myself and just call, okay, until I figure out what else I'm going to do. Then, and I taught probably the 2 to 3 classes for October and December. Then in January, and this was back in 2018, so January 2018, they said, hey, we had a client call who wants a live instructor to fly out to them and teach these classes. They said, these are not normal. It doesn't happen very often, but every once in a while we get these requests. We know that you don't have a typical schedule like the rest of our teachers do. Are you interested in going? And I was like, okay. They were going to pay for my travel. They were going to pay me extra money for traveling. And then they were going to pay me for the 3 or 4 days that I was teaching there. Talk about imposter syndrome. I had been teaching at basically Arizona State exam at the ExamFX location. And this would be my first time. I was now going into another state, going to a company, because like the classes that I taught in Arizona were at the training place. Like it wasn't an insurance company. Like people from insurance companies would come in, or like random people would come in, but it wasn't in front of a insurance company that was paying thousands of dollars for me to be there. And I hadn't taught like Colorado yet. Ultimately, they're all kind of very, very similar, which is why my business can be so successful right now. But I had a lot of imposter syndrome, but I posted about it and I was like, oh my God, I'm so scared. But that class was so wildly successful. I think I had a 100% first time pass rate, meaning that everybody who took the test the first time passed it. If not, everyone passed it by the second. I know that for sure. It was a while ago. I don't have the exact numbers, but I do actually I moved it away, but I keep the letter that they wrote me. It's one of the most beautiful cards I've ever gotten from a company thanking me for my teaching and that they love having me come out. So what happened was that class was so successful that the corporate company I was working for was like, oh shoot, like look how well Melissa taught this class. This went phenomenal. Like the typical pass rates are like 50%. She got 100% or like an 80%, whatever it ended up being. It was ultimately 100% by the second time pass. So then classes started to pick up where they told me it was very rare to get traveling jobs. That now that I started getting traveling jobs at least once a month, then it became twice a month, then 3 times a month. And then for the next 4 years, I was traveling all around the country teaching these classes. And the corporate company would send me out to go teach the classes first to secure the contract. And then they would send other teachers in. But then they'd find a struggle because the companies were like, no, don't send us anybody but Melissa. We can only have Melissa. And I was the most requested instructor in this industry. And it still took me a while to build up the confidence that I could run my business on my own, that I could do this on my own. I was still very dependent upon the corporate company. I was reliant upon the idea or the belief that I couldn't do it alone, that I couldn't do it without them. And it ultimately took the push from Christine. And she didn't push me at all, by the way. It's not like she said, hey, quit your job. It was just being in her world and in her presence and in her knowledge and in her wisdom and in her spirit that I was like, I can do this. I can make this happen. So in January of 2022, I officially quit my corporate job and I started my YouTube channel. Now I didn't know the how. I did not know the how. And if I had tried to make the how, I would only have been able to use my limited human mind that didn't have enough knowledge to know how to build a six-figure business. I trusted in the unknown. I trusted in the divine. I knew that the knowledge and the clarity that I would need would come to me step by step, and to just jump, to just make the leap and to just do it. I did have my 401k that I was like, I've got this. If I need to cash it out, I've got it. So I did have some level of security. It's not like I just winged it. So I did have some background, but it is possible to just wing it. Okay. Whatever it is that you want to happen can happen if you trust that it can happen. Because your thoughts create your reality. And what you are predominantly thinking is what you're going to predominantly see. So once I switched my thoughts to predominantly thinking that I can be successful, I started to see success. Okay. So I started in January 2022. I mulled over a while, like, what do I do for this YouTube video? Like, I was like, I need to make a PowerPoint. I need to learn how to edit videos. I need to be all professional, like all this stuff. And at the time I was married and my husband said, just teach. He's like, you're good at teaching, just do that. And that was probably the best advice I ever got from him. Other than that, he did not like to be involved in what I was doing. He would just say, good job. And that kind of sucked to some extent, but at least he gave me that one push. He's like, just teach, just do it. So I pulled up a whiteboard behind me. I got my whiteboard markers and I just started writing on the whiteboard marker and I recorded myself on my phone. And I'm pretty good at a one-take wonder, which is why I just go live because I'm not worried about editing. I'm not worried about saying something I don't want to say. In fact, I feel like I say things better when I'm just live, when I'm just going. Like, I like to be a teacher in front of a class. I'm not edited. I'm not polished. I'm not scripted. I just go. So I just trusted that and I just went. So then I uploaded my first YouTube video. I created a Facebook page, the Insurance Exam Queen, and then it automatically created a Facebook group. Now, initially, I didn't pay attention to the Facebook group. I was focused on the YouTube and the Facebook page because I was thinking that's where it was at. But over time, my YouTube group started growing and growing, and I realized I got a whole audience in there. They're all waiting for me. Then I started really getting interactive in the Facebook group, but it took, honestly, like 3 months before I really got in there and started using that group. So I want to go over the numbers. Okay, so first we have January, and this was January 1st to January. So I started January 14th, okay? So I quit my job in the beginning of January. You leaving, baby?
I'm getting ready to, yeah.
You can give me a kiss before you go?
Are you live?
Yes, I'm live.
Oh my goodness.
Don't act like you don't kiss me on camera.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. I love you, honey.
Love you too.
He's gonna go play pool. He's a professional pool player.
Shit.
He's working on it. We'll be in Vegas someday.
Again?
This time playing pool. Okay, so so I started January 14th. Now, the total numbers that I made that month were 200. See, I can't make PowerPoints. I can make PowerPoints, but I don't love it. I love this. And I just finished this right before we started. So the first month of January, I made $220. If I had used this as my is this business going to work number, I didn't. Okay, I didn't. I was like, just keep going, keep going. Now, at the time, I was doing one-on-one tutoring. And I think Facebook flips my camera for me. Zoom switches it so I feel like a mirror. So now I keep messing up. So if I was on Zoom, I'd be pointing better. But Facebook is messing me up. So at the time, I was offering one-on-one tutoring. So and it was $33 an hour. So I posted YouTube videos and then I said, email me for tutoring at the end of the video because I don't know. And then people would email me and say, hey, I need tutoring. I would maybe call them or email them. We would schedule an appointment. I would send them a PayPal invoice for the $33. Once they paid it, we would meet up. Now, like I said, I am awful at organization. There was one point, and it probably wasn't January. I think it was by February, March. I had it was in January or at the beginning of February. I had 3 people booked for the same hour, and I didn't realize it. I was in the middle of a tutoring session, and then 2 or 3 other people called me and sent me a message like, hey, I'm ready for our session. Where are you? And I was like, oh my God. I didn't freak out. I didn't panic, which is something I normally would have done in the past. I used to panic quite a bit. I used to freak out quite a bit. And this all stems back from childhood trauma where I had to be in panic mode or freak out mode. Well, my father was always in panic and freak out mode, and I always had to be prepared for him. So everything we went through in our childhood translates to how we operate as an adult. But I didn't freak out. I didn't panic. I just chuckled. I said, everything's going to work out. Whatever. We rescheduled it. It was fine. And then that signified to me that I needed a better system. But initially, I didn't know what I was doing. I just said, email me for tutoring. Sent them a PayPal invoice for the $33. They paid it. We scheduled the appointment. I put on Zoom meetings, and I would meet up with them. And in fact, how did I do it? I don't even, because I think you figured your first month you get like free Zoom, or they had gotten rid of the 40-minute limit. But eventually I had to buy Zoom because of the 40-minute limit. But I think in the first month I had it for free. It didn't cut me off at 40 minutes because it was 1 hour tutoring. So I was doing 1 hour tutoring, either 33 an hour, or I would do 2 hours for 55. And I was also doing some private classes. So some insurance agencies had found me, and recruiters. So there's always a lot of recruiters in insurance, and they hire people and they need to get them licensed and trained. So she booked me, but I was really only charging her tutor prices, but just for however many people she sent to me. And then at the time, YouTube, that first month, I got 59 subscribers in my first month, and then I got 16 watch hours. So in order to be making money on YouTube, you need a total of 1,000 subscribers, and you need 1,000 watch hours, which is why I write these 2 numbers down so that you can see the growth of those things. So that was in January. $220 on PayPal invoices that I was manually sending out. I was scheduling all my own appointments and my classes. Then in February of 2022, we hit 3 figures. Woo! I made $1,561. And this was again coming from one-on-one tutoring at $33 an hour. Again, like either on my Facebook page, I would say I'm available for tutoring. And then on my YouTube channel, I would say email me for tutoring. Now at this point, I talked to a business person because I was like, I need a system and I don't know what I'm doing. And she got me set up on Calendly. So Calendly, it's like the word calendar, except at the end, instead of DAR, it's DLY, Calendly. And you got to pay for it to have the best system, but it's not very expensive at all. But you put in your schedule, and it allows people to book an appointment and then pay you. So now I was no longer having to send out PayPal voices. As soon as someone booked, they would pay me, and then the money would go straight to my PayPal. So that was an amazing system. And then it meant that people could book without having to talk to me. And that was also an amazing system, but I was still doing just $33 an hour. Now at this time, I had gotten the attention of some of my insurance friends, and one of them, Joanne, who's absolutely amazing with insurance. She's on cruises all the time. She sells Medicare, and her whole life is just going on cruises. If you want to be an insurance agent going on cruises, talk to Joanne. And she had a large insurance group, and she let me present to them some things that I was offering. Now, at the time, I didn't know what to offer other than what I had experienced in the corporate world. So I kind of presented corporate-y type stuff where I didn't realize that these agencies were a lot smaller and that they didn't have these like huge pipelines like big insurance companies did. But what they did really buy was my bulk tutoring. So what I did was I would sell 10, 20, or 30 hours of tutoring to them in one chunk. And that reduced it to almost 20 to 22 an hour for them. So in my second month of business, I was still at like $20, $30 an hour, because this is what my mindset knew that I was set at, because that's what I could make in my corporate company, the 30 an hour. So I was, that's what I was doing. Then I got the bright idea to start my first class. So I said, you know what? I'm going to do a live class where people can pay tickets to attend. Now, also what's interesting is that life and health, so there's 4 main categories, life, health, property, casualty. When I was working for the corporate company, life and health was the big ones, and very few property and casualty classes. Interestingly, running my own business, property casualty is way bigger for me. In fact, it is my number one seller, my number one people need help with PNC more than life and health. So initially I offered only life and health though, because I thought that was the main thing. And I had a lot, and that's the Joanne is in a health group. So I did have a little bit more life and health exposure at that time. So my first published class, though, I published it for March. So I published it early. I said I sold it as an early bird ticket. I said if you purchase your ticket in advance, it's only $33 for 4 hours, or $55 once we end the early bird date. I don't remember what that was. And so that was a big chunk of that money. I think the total I got from that was like 500 something from that class. So I was up to like $74 an hour. Now my mind is like, oh, you're teaching a class at about $74 an hour. My mindset started changing that I could be making more money than that. And then my YouTube was 46, and then my watch hours were 31. And so that would be, it's not a running total yet. I'll tell you when I hit the numbers. The 1,000 subscribers and the 4,000 watch hours is what you need to be monetized. Layla, okay, so my sister is in the comments. She's the one I would recommend to start working on your mindset. She has an up-level boot camp coming up. That's where I would start. If you're like, I don't know how to begin dealing with my anxiety, my emotions, how to operate. I don't know where to go with this trauma that I have. Start with Sarah. She's incredible. So Layla's my niece. Layla just said, it's so cute how she talks about you. It's giving little sister is proud of her big sister vibes. Of course I am. And my sister is the first one to quit her corporate job years ago. And it took me a while to follow in her footsteps, but she did it first. And I'm so thankful that, she did that. And she was actually a manager at a corporate company. She had a really good position, and she's a big time boss lady. And she was like, you know what? I'm going to do my own thing. And so she actually has a everyday nutrition in Avondale, Arizona. So she sells smoothies and shakes. She's got workout things. And then she runs her up-level boot camps and stuff, which is where I would recommend to start with your mindset. All right. So then in March 2022, we were up to 2,489. Woo woo. And this was like the first, like, oh, we're getting there. We're getting there. Like, we're making it happen. So I was feeling really good. Now, I also decided at this point to set up a website because I had taught the boot camp. I had taught those classes, and I was like, I can sell the recordings of those classes, right? So I can either book out my schedule with all these live classes, or I can run a couple of live classes and then sell the recordings. So I set up a Podia, which is, I don't recommend them to start with. Now I would change. I ultimately changed who I used, but I began with them. I was still doing one-on-one tutoring, but I had changed my price now to $55 an hour. So when I first started, I was 2 hours for $55. Then once March rolled around and I had made $74 an hour with those online classes with the boot camp, I was like, I got to raise my prices. I was also getting a lot more requests for tutoring, and and while I love tutoring, one-on-one after one-on-one after one-on-one was wearing me down a little bit. And I was like, I don't want as much tutoring. So I raised my price to lower the demand a little bit. So the boot camp, like I said, I offered $33 early bird, $55 for the main ticket. Then I sold the recording for $33 each one, Life and Health, Life 33, Health 33, or you can get both for $55. Then I did a property and casualty class where I charged $33 a ticket for that one. And then I sold that recording for only $11 because it was like 2 hours instead of 4 hours. Then I secured a deal with an agency who wanted weekly meetings and support for their agents, and I charged them $1,000 for the first 2 months, and I told them I would get their pass rates up. But they were really in it for the weekly meetings, and that eventually was like, I don't want to meet weekly. So, but that was a big $1,000, and that also showed me that I could be working with agencies and not just a bunch of individuals. So then my YouTube was 45 subscribers that month, and then a total of 79 watch hours. So then moving into April of 2022, we dipped a little bit, but this was also the month that my husband left. Thank God. A little bit of crazy life stuff going on. And I've talked about it on my Facebook page. If you go back through my lives, this is nothing that has not been talked about before. I send him all the love and all the light. I think when we first met, he really presented himself and wanted to be a different human than he was, but he couldn't sustain it. He had a lot of childhood trauma that he didn't work on, that he didn't go to therapy with. And I was going to therapy. I was working on my mindset. I was doing all these things, and we just completely fell out of sync. And our relationship, when it started relatively healthy, it ultimately was just a very big trauma bond. It was the most healthiest relationship I had had up to that point. So of course it looked very healthy, but it was still heavily laced in a trauma bond, still very much trying to work out our own traumas on each other. And it just wore us down over time. And ultimately, I was like, I'm going to thick or thin, or what is it, through sickness and in health. And I was like, even though I had many indications that I should have left, I was like, it's his trauma. It's his trauma. He needs to go to therapy. If he could just go to therapy, then we can be okay. I need to give him time and space to heal. You can't rush this. And I was hanging on, but ultimately he decided to leave. And that was like such a big blessing, because then it wasn't me. And I really was committed to helping him through his trauma, but he wasn't. So he left. So lots of crazy life changes at that time. And also the agency, technically, I guess, if we went with that agency package, they gave me $1,000, but $500 was for month 1 and $500 was for month 2. So if I was to average it out, it'd probably be a little bit more equal between these 2 months. So, but I really love this number because I was born in 1987. Felt like a rebirth to me with the changes that happened. And it really was a rebirth for me. Openly, willingly allowing him to leave without attempting to. There was a point a few months before the year before this, in March, so March of 2021. He had said something about that he was going to leave, and I was an utter mess. I was like fetal position on the floor crying that he was going to leave. And it wasn't about him. It was about me being alone and feeling ashamed that my partner left me, and I was like, I will never put myself in that position again. I was like, I need to go to therapy. I need to love myself and be independent enough that if a person wants to leave, I say, okay, I understand. This is what you need. Okay. And then so when he left in April, I said, okay, this is what you feel like you need. I'm not asking you to, but if you feel that you need to, okay. And I was a completely different person, completely different than I had been just a year ago. Fetal position on the floor, crying my eyes out, wanting to kill myself. And I never said that. I didn't say I want to kill myself. I said the thoughts were in my mind, which is completely different. There is a difference between a thought being in your head and actually wanting to do it. But he was like, you need to talk about the therapy. I was like, I will. I am. Don't worry. And I talked about it in therapy a lot because I was like, I never want to be in that position again, ever. I don't ever want to feel like that. I don't ever want to have those thoughts cross my mind. And there was a lot that was going on at that time, and I went live about it. I talked about it. I was, because when, I'm not going to make this about relationship. Anyway, you could go back and watch the videos. Okay, so I was running classes at this time, so I was still offering like live classes. I figured that was a good, that worked for me, so I started doing that. Instead of selling 33 to one person, I was now selling 33 to like 5 or 10 people, however many would show up. I also started offering custom packages. So people would email me with their score sheet, things they needed to learn. I would create custom things for them, make them special notes, special recordings. This was fun, but it also, I didn't love it. And I was like, I'm not going to do this very long because it was too customized and it wasn't things that I could multiply. Then I was still doing recordings. They were still pretty low price. So I would like sell, if I sold a ticket for 33, then the recording would be like 11. And then I would also offer half price. Like if they bought one class recording, they could get the other one for like $5. So like half off. So I was selling all of these on Podia. So I would sell my live classes, then I would take the recording of it, and then I would sell the recording of it, and then offer, buy this recording, and then buy another one for half off. So still pretty low prices. My subscribers, I jumped into 3-digit subscribers that month. I got 179 and 525 watch hours. Remember, this is not a running total. This is how many I got in that month, okay? And you need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours before you're allowed to be monetized. Oh, I missed a page. Okay. This is where it blew up. After he left. I don't mean, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So again, I was very heavily invested, not only in starting my business, but also trying to work on my marriage, trying to do the trauma and stuff. And he really relied on me to be his therapist. And I myself was going to therapy. I was like 1 or 2 steps ahead of him. And it was very time consuming, very exhausting. We would have days where it was just angry at each other all day, cycling trauma. You know, and you have to understand that when you're in a trauma bond with someone, or any time that anger or aggression or something is coming up, it is you in your past trying to relive a moment with new power, but it just doesn't work. You can't project your trauma onto someone else and have it work out better this time. But we're always trying to do that. So all of our arguments were like his traumatized child and my traumatized child are trying to talk to each other. We weren't even talking about the same thing. It thought we were. It thought the fights were about each other, but they really were just our suppressed childhood trauma coming up. So much of my time and energy was exhausted with my relationship. So when he left, look what happened. $7,000 in the month of May. What? This blew me out the door. Like, damn. What was the month before? 1,087. And then we jumped to 7,000. This was the biggest month up to that point. And it's just wait till we get to the end, guys. Just wait. I can't even wait to show you. So May of 2022, $7,032. I was still offering live classes. I was still selling them as recordings. Now, one of the biggest changes that happened, though, was I was selling individual recordings. So, like, to get, like, general insurance, you have to pay $22. To get homeowners, $22. To get auto, $22. To get umbrella, $22. Like, every class was separate and individual, and you have to buy each one. In May, I bundled them. So I started saying, you can buy all of my property and casualty classes for $111. You can buy all of my life and health for $111. So I started creating bundles instead of just individual classes. And then that's what led to the huge increase. I also had, my agency was continuing to be supported with their 500. I was still doing custom packages, and some amazing stuff happened. So I remember I was on the phone with Christine, and she is like, honey child, you are selling custom packages to these people with the information that allows them to pass, and you're charging them $100, $200. She's like, you need to raise your prices. She says you need to have $1,000 to work with you one-on-one. And I was like, what? No way. You crazy. I was like, that's not. But what was so wild was in that same, and I don't remember which order it went. Maybe I had told Christine this story, and then she's like, yes, make that a thing. And I was like, it's only this one girl. So I had a girl who needed to help pass. And she said, I'm flying into Vegas. I will pay you $1,000 to just sit with me and teach me everything I need to know so I can go home and pass. Funny enough, it didn't happen. In fact, I think she had tried to do that in the month before. I don't remember the exact timeline. She told me she would pay me $1,000 to sit with her and to teach her everything she needs. She offered that to me. I didn't say $1,000 to work with me. I had stopped I didn't have as many tutoring hours available because it was annoying to me to do the one-on-one so often. I was mostly focused on the live classes and selling the recordings. So I didn't have a lot of tutoring anymore available. And so she just said $1,000 to work with me. The day that we were scheduled to meet up, ghosted. Heard nothing from her. And weeks went by. Then she reached out to me again. She says, so sorry. Some drama went down in Vegas. You know how that is. She's like, but I'm ready to send you the $1,000 and to work with me. And at this point, like, what's so crazy, and again, mindset. When she didn't show up, I didn't cry my eyes out. I didn't think that it was like over. I didn't think anything was ruined. I was like, oh, well, it didn't work out. It's, like, I actually went shopping. So I had gotten ready to go. I was, ready to sit with her. I was even ready to maybe go out that night on the strip because I was living in Vegas at the time. And I was like, I'll make $1,000 then I'm going to go hang out on the strip. But it didn't happen. And I was like, oh, well, I'm going to go shopping. And I went and spent some money. And just think the month before that same month, I had only made, $1,900. And I still took myself shopping. I was like, it's all right. It's fine. My mindset wasn't torn apart or blown to bits because the potential $1,000 client didn't show up. I was like, okay, whatever. I didn't let it eat me up. I didn't let it make me panic. I didn't have any anxiety. A few weeks later, she reaches out. I'm ready. Let's do this on camera. Now the timeline started to become a little more clear to me. So she had offered that to me. I told it to Christine. Christine said, yes. Let's plan that out. So then between Christine and I, we had figured out that I would offer the one-on-one. We called it the Royal Treatment. Since I'm the insurance exam queen, the Royal Treatment, work with me one-on-one. I would get you student notes. I would get you whatever it is that you needed to secure a pass, and then you can work with me on tutoring. And this was the only way I was offering tutoring was $997. And at the time, I didn't have set hours for tutoring. It was just kind of based on what they needed. And so she paid me the $1,000. And then I started marketing it for $997 because that's a good marketing number, either ending in a 9 or a 7. That's just good for marketing. People love to see 9s or 7s. So I started selling it for $997, and I actually had 3 total clients that month, 3 one-on-one clients. So she officially signed up. The next one, I had 3 clients, $3,000, all one-on-ones with me. And then I was still selling the recordings and still doing live classes. And that's where we got to the 7,032. So the first $1,000 client was in May. Officially, I think she had said it in April, but it didn't happen till May. And then my second one and third one, both $997. And I think I've had 5 or maybe 8 since up to then, but those were the first 3 that I had. My YouTube at this time, look at my YouTube jump. 392. The month before was like what, 50, 59 or something? some low oh, 179. And then we jumped to 392 subscribers and then 1,700 watch hours. So we're getting really close. We're getting pretty close to making it. And in fact, I believe we do in the next month. So then June, we continue to blow up. Right? So we went 1,987, 7,032. Look what happened in June. First 5-figure month. 11,000. Ah! First 5-figure month, 5 months in. 5 months in, 5-figure month. That's how quick it happened. 5 months in, I just realized that. The 5th month in, we're at 5 figures. No, actually, I forgot to tell you, but I don't think, does it matter yet? No, it doesn't matter yet. I had actually partnered with, so back in May, where was it? When did they partner with me? So I'm not state approved for pre-licensing. I'm teaching people separate from the, oh, maybe I didn't land it yet. Okay, I wrote it down. Oh, it was in May. I missed it in May. Okay, in May, I forgot to say this. I got partnered with Excel. So I am not, so in order to take the state exam, you need to get with the state approved company to take your test, like an education company that has been licensed basically by the state to teach this material. One of the reasons I was a little bit scared is because I'm not state approved. But that's what makes it so magical, is that I can work with anybody who's studying for the test, no matter what corporate education company they went with. And I knew that if they're studying and then they go to YouTube and they search a video, that I would pop up, regardless of who they were with. But I knew that it would be pretty nice if I could partner with one of the corporate companies. Now, of course, I worked with one, and I love them. They're great and all. But there wasn't going to be a partnership with them. So interestingly, a former employee of the corporate company was working with another company who actually has a very much better practice exam, Excel. And he called me up and he's like, hey, I see your YouTube channel. He's like, you must be getting some customers and stuff. He's like, why don't we partner up? So we partnered up to where if I recommend people to their state approved course, that I will get a portion of that sale. And then the people who use my coupon, so I get a coupon code. So if you go to Excel and you check out, you get 10% off. So I gave up some of my commission to give people 10% off, because you can use the code and it would still track under me, but I gave people 10% off. And then I get a little kickback from that. And then I give them my bundle for free. So I was selling an $111 bundle. And if you use Excel with my coupon code, you would actually get that for free. So I wanted that partnership to be built up. Now, many of the people who come to me already have a state approved course. It's a very small number of people, but I know it's going to grow bigger over time, who don't know where to start yet, and they will. And my hope is to catch them before they even sign up with anyone else, so that they're not paying twice. Because most people have to pay the state approved course and then pay me. If they get Excel, they're paying Excel and me at the same time, and they get both for one low price instead of, two separate prices. So I partnered with them, but it took a while to catch on. So I didn't start making money with them right away, but that would ultimately become another stream of income. So I realized I forgot to mention that. So then we get into June. June is the first 5-figure month, 5 months in, 5-figure month. How cool is that? I was still doing classes. I was still doing recordings. And then I also started, so I had the one-on-one 997 where you can work with me through Zoom meetings and get the one-on-one tutoring. But then I also started offering Voxer, basically a group where you could message me in little audio messages. And thank you, Marcy. She said she's going to start sending people my way. Yes, thank you. So I could send them little audio messages back and forth where they could ask me questions. And that was for 7 days. and it was $297. And they also got 90% off of my bundle. So they'd basically pay me 300 and something, and they would get all of my classes and the ability to talk to me. I still actually have that available, except now you have 100 days of being able to talk to me, but you're in a group instead of being individual. So anyway, though, so just the ability to talk to me, okay, was $297. June 19th, magical day, which is so crazy because January 18th is the 1 year. We're technically 1 day earlier than my 1 year anniversary because I'm heading out of town tomorrow. But the 19th, so June 19th, that's when I officially hit 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, which meant I was able to be monetized. So I got an email from YouTube that says you have hit your goal to be monetized. You have to put in an application. So I put in an application. You know, they check your channel, make sure it's not dirty, gross, or whatever. And then you get, you can get approved. Now, in that month, I also had a total of 560 subscribers. So my running total was 1,281 by the time June was done. I realized I should put a running total down here. I'm going to do that. I'm going to keep this book. I'm going to keep writing all my years in here. So I have it forever. I even made myself a cute little cover, and David put it in for me because I was struggling and kept crinkling the paper. But I am very much a pen to paper kind of girl, marker to paper, and I could make this on a PowerPoint, but I like my book that I can touch. So then I also had exactly 4,000 watch hours that month, which meant my running total was 8,000 watch hours because I had earned 4,000 previous and then 4,000 in that exact month as well. So that is freaking wild. So that was June of 2022. July of 2022 looked pretty similar. We were at, but now I was earning also YouTube money. So I wanted to separate it because I figured you guys would want to know how much I was making directly from YouTube. So the total was 11,715. YouTube was 1,811 and 77 of that. Look at all them angel numbers, guys. Isn't that amazing? I was still doing classes. I was still selling recordings. And then I also met Angela, she was a student of mine. She passed her test and she said, I much prefer teaching than selling. I really like, watching your videos and figuring out ways to say this. So she offered herself as the ultimate study buddy. So she was doing it for free. So she was in my group for a couple of months. People say, I need a study buddy. She would offer for free. She'd meet with these people, give them phone calls, support them through studying. And then I started talking to her and she's like, could you hire me? I said, no, I can't hire you, but I can promote you and you could run your own business alongside mine. And that was really cool because it allowed me to not have so many one-on-ones. Like one-on-ones is great and all, but again, it can be a lot. And it's not necessarily my favorite thing to do. I'm more of a classroom. I like multiple people, not just one person. Not that I hate it by any means, but it's just it is not my favorite. Okay, that's all I have to say about it. I was still offering $9.97 for one-on-ones, and like I said, I had up to like 8 or 10 clients, but I don't really offer it anymore. I've had a few people ask, and now I say it's $9.97 for 4 hours. So I set a limit on it so that I know exactly how many hours it's going to be. And that it won't be more than that. And that's just what I feel comfortable with. So, yeah. So Angela satisfied a lower budget one-on-ones. So what we would do is they would need to watch my stuff first, and then they could book with her to have study sessions. And she's still running alongside my business. She's amazing. Then that month, look at that huge number, 677 subscribers, 6,500 watch hours. So now we're hitting over 10,000 watch hours at this point as a running total. Then in the month of August, very similar, 11,907. And all I did was recordings. So it was my birthday month. I did not do live classes. So this is solely coming from recordings. My YouTube that month was 2,017. So of the 11,000, 2,000 came from YouTube. And then my Excel partnership kicked in. This was the first time that people had started using the coupon code Excel. So Excel was, I made $120 from them, which translates to, I don't know how many people, that's a few people signing up under my name. My subscribers blowing up big time, 836 that month alone, 8,800 watch hours. Like, it's pretty wild to be like, people are be watching videos of me for 8,000 hours. 8,000 hours. People are watching my face. Like, that's just wild. But it's happening. So then we go into September. Now, September, nice little growth in September. We're up to 17,000. Do you guys remember where we were? Do you remember? $220. 8 months later. What is September? 7? 8. No, 8 is August. 9. 9 months later. I'm not the best at numbers. I'm not. So September, 17,310 running total. YouTube was 1,340 of that. I have yet to quite figure out, the more videos I make doesn't seem to necessarily change the monetization. I'm still roughly around 1,100 with them. I haven't quite figured that out yet, but I'm happy to be making the monies from them. That's fine. But there were times, and this is the thing about YouTube is, I wasn't always posting. Like they say them rules. They say the rules are to be posting weekly. There were times I went months without a new video. So bad. But I have recently gotten better at doing weekly videos. So I broke a lot of rules. I never edit my videos. I don't have the best video sound quality epicness. And I don't post weekly. And now I am, but I didn't for the longest time. And I was still making money on YouTube. I was still getting 800 subscribers a month, right? Like, you don't have to follow all the rules. You just need to be yourself. And you need to trust that it's all working out, okay? So don't ever let the rules of how other people did it define what your success can look like. And don't think that their perfectionist needs to be your perfectionist, okay? Even Aaron and Victor edit their videos. I don't ever want to. I have zero desire. And in fact, the only type of editing that I'm looking for is taking my 2-hour video and chopping it up into smaller bits. Like, that's it. In terms of editing my video and what I say, I'm just not going to do it. I don't have any desire to get editing software to do any of that. I just go with what I went with. And it's very rare that I ever have to make a video more than once. My video, I turn on my camera, I hit start, blah, 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 hit end. That's it. Upload to YouTube. Okay. Be yourself. Talk about whatever it is you want to talk about. And that's the other thing too, is some people start being like, well, I wish I knew a topic like you do so I could sell that. It's not about the insurance exam. It is for me, but that's not you. It is you who makes your channel. It is you who builds your business. It is your story, your passion, and your stuff that will bring in your audience. There are times, guys, where I literally, and this was even at the beginning too, I would meditate, I would close my eyes, and I would imagine that golden cords were coming out from under me and going out into the world and attaching itself to my future clients and then drawing them to me. Anybody can do that. It's, again, your thoughts create your reality. So whatever you are predominantly thinking is what you're going to predominantly see. So if you predominantly think, I can't run a successful YouTube channel because I don't know how to teach the insurance exam, you're going to find evidence of that. But if you predominantly think, my customers will come to me, my channel can be successful, I can run my own business, you will find evidence of that. It's called the reticular activator system or something. It's like everyone uses this example because it's so blatantly obvious. You buy a Prius, suddenly Prius is everywhere. Somebody mentions something to you, then you see it everywhere because now it's in your focus. But your brain is this, as much as it's dumb, our brains can be so dumb because they're programmed on the past. But it's why, you're in a crowd of people and it's all noisy, but someone says Melissa and you hear it. Your brain is tuned in to hear the things that you believe, know, and trust are true. So when you start attuning yourselves to the things that you want to see, you begin to see them. It's also called like lucky girl syndrome. And one of my friends sent me a video the other day. Heidi, thank you, Heidi. And it's a woman who talked about this. She said, my husband and I had horrible days. We'd come home, dump our shit on each other, and it made our relationship suck. And then she said, one day we decided we were going to change things. And we said, we are going to when we come home, we will only tell each other about the best part of our day, and we have to find the best part of our day and then tell it to each other. So then they go out into the world, and now they're constantly seeking the best part of my day. And they would end up like with 4 or 5 things, and then like 10 things, and then like 20, and then their whole day was like, the whole day is epic because they're looking for better parts. It's not to say life is perfect. Okay. There will always be struggle. I struggle. I'm not perfect. I still struggle. I still have problems. Everything isn't peaches and creams. But at the same time, I am focused on the peaches and cream, and I will get more peaches and cream than anything else because that's where my focus is on. And then if my focus is on that and something does happen, it doesn't just destroy me. It doesn't obliterate me into full-blown panic and anxiety attacks like it used to. Oh, okay, this problem happened. What's the next right step? How do we solve it? Fucking Frozen, man. Elsa thinks her sister is dead, depressed in this cave, and she's like, just take the next right step. And that is literally how I live my life when I'm in the middle of a problem. So I haven't experienced really any major problems, I think, since like November. And I have had moments of depression. So when I got pregnant in October, I had a lot of emotions going on. We're going to talk about November was a little bit wild and crazy for me. And I've had moments where I was like, I feel extra sad. I've got all these hormones raging. And I was like, what's the next right step? And I would just focus on it. What's the next right step? What's the next right step? Don't worry about the 20 other steps. Just the one right now. What is the next right thing to do right now? Okay. And then again, what you're looking for is what you will find. Your brain will always find what you are looking for. So if you're looking for worry and fear and doubt in the worst possible situation, you're going to find worry, fear, and doubt in the worst possible situation. But if your brain is like, I'm looking for the best thing, I'm looking for the funnest thing, I'm looking for the coolest thing, I'm trusting that everything is working out for me, you will find that. So, tangent. But that's what I'm going to be talking about on this channel, is how we flip our mindset. There is no way Melissa, working at a corporate company, could have ever seen herself making $17,000 in 1 month. No way. But when I kept putting the thought, I can run a successful business, I can have a YouTube channel, and then I started seeing other people do it. I put myself in Facebook groups where people were making so much money. And it was like, these women were like, I made $100,000 this month. And I'm like, what the fuck? $100,000 in 1 month? And the more I saw that happening, the more I trusted that it could happen for me. The more real it made to me, because if I could see the evidence of it happening to other people, then that meant it could happen for me. I didn't look at it as a competition. I'd say, oh, fuck her. She must be doing something to get 100,000. She probably lying about it. Right? I didn't have those thoughts. I was like, damn, she did it. I could do it. I was like, if Kylie Jenner could fucking sell lip gloss, I could do something. I could sell insurance exam. If her, why not me? I don't look at other people as competition. I look at them as evidence that I can do it too. That it's available, that it's possible. That anything is possible. All right. Anyway, I hope cursing is okay on Facebook. I am a cursor. Cursor? That made me think of cursor, like a mouse. All right. Anyway. Okay. So, I don't know what we're talking about. September, 17,310. YouTube was 1,340 of that. Excel was kicking in. I didn't feel like rewriting the whole page. I wrote 120, but I meant 160. And then 818 subscribers on YouTube, 10,000 watch hours that month alone. 10,000 hours that month alone. Remember, I needed 4,000 just to get up to monetization. I'm hitting 10,000 in 1 month. Like that blows my mind. All right, then November happened. Wait, no, October, sorry. You guys, October. Where were we at for September? 17,000. October was right on the cusp. And this is the month I found out I was pregnant. Right on the cusp of 20,000. We're at 19,055. This is how much, do you understand these numbers are how much I made in 1 month? Right? Like 19,000 in 1 month. In 1 month, $20,000. Almost $20,000 in one month. Just one month. Half my teaching salary. When I worked at a school, I was making $40,000 a year. I made half of that in 1 month. 1 month. Half of my teaching salary. 6 months of work in 1 month. Just one. Freaking mind-blowing. But my mindset changed. I saw that it was possible for other people making hundreds of thousands of dollars in a day now. I was seeing women make $100,000 in a day. One of Christine's clients made $102,000 in a day. I was surrounding myself with people who were doing it, and it was evidence to me that it could be possible for me. And I was like, if them, me too. If them, me too. Not of them, fuck them. If them, me too. If me, you too. YouTube on YouTube, you too. YouTube on YouTube. I was still doing recordings. And then here's where the really big switch came in. So like I said, I was selling recordings. So like homeowners, $22. Oh, Christopher found me in October. That was right when I was pregnant. We found out I was pregnant like Halloween, like October 30th. So at this time in October, I was still selling individual recordings. If you want to learn homeowners, $22. You want to learn auto, $22. You want to learn umbrella, $22. And then I did bundle them all together for $111. Now, what I decided to do, and I kept telling myself, I'm going to make a course where it's like everything's in a topic. You could go through it in order of how you should watch it. But I kept thinking it needed to be edited videos, that it needed to be me presenting the material and not use my class recordings. But I'm like, why? Why can't it be what I already have? At that point, I had taught so many live classes that I was like, I have so many recordings available to me. So I actually got note cards, like individual 3x5, 7. I'm doing it right now for life insurance. I got little note cards and I wrote down the name of the class, how long it was. And then I laid them all out. And then I started separating them into piles. And I was like, I can take all of these recordings and bundle them into class series. And I was selling each class for like $22. I put like 8 of them together and priced it at $27. So, and then I was like, well, I want to fit everyone's budget. It was one of the things I always told Christine, because she's like, $1,000 to work with you. And I'm like, but I need to be cheap as well. I want to help everybody. So I've got my YouTube channel, which is free. I've got low budget at $27, mid-range at $57, and then my top tier is $97. And then of course to work with me one-on-one, you're at $200, $300. But then you're in a group. Oh, so my sister says, I love how you say we blew up. Well, it's me and the queen. We're two things. Even when it's just little old me, as if it feels like it was an entire group of support. It really was. And it is, and it's not just me and the queen, but I mean, I am the queen, but it's like the whole business, and it's everyone supporting it. There really is a we behind this. There's a Christopher behind this. There's a Rhonda behind this. Like, it's not just me, it's the people who roll in with me. I have so many people who will pass the test and then stick around because they want to help others, they want to support others, or they just love me and they just want to be in my world. So when I say we, it's me and all the customers behind me that are supporting and creating this business and helping make it possible. So I always say we too. I've never said I, because it doesn't feel like Tina too. Tina passed her exam. She's still cheering everybody on. Like the we really is, and also like my higher power too. When I, it's not just me, it's my higher power. It's Christine, it's my sister, it's everyone encouraging me, all the people who are supporting the business. It really is a we and not a me. And I think that mindset shift can help, because it's not little old me. It's me and my divine power behind me. It's me and the audience that wants me. It's me and everyone who's cheering me on, right? There are people who never passed the exam who cheered me on in my business to help make it possible. Oh, and I didn't even mention that August, how could I forget? David, don't be mad at me. In August, so what did we have? August was 11,000, and then September blew up to 17,000. So I made $6,000 jump 1 month to the other. That was also the month that I met my boyfriend, David. And now we're expecting. It was planned on purpose. We actually hung. I know we met in August, and then we're pregnant by October, but we did plan that. I did not expect it to happen so soon. I will tell you that, but I knew the power of manifestation. I hung a onesie over the bed. I said, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. We got the onesie, we got the visual, and we certainly worked at it. He did most of the work. Anyway, I don't want to get too naughty there, but so having him around, he actually was a student studying, and he was studying for his exams, and he reached out to me and he said he needed help. And I'm like, well, I'll help you the same way I help everybody else. I'm not going to call you individually unless you pay me $1,000. And, but I did end up calling him, because he wished me happy birthday, like separately. And I was like, I really appreciate that he just wished me happy birthday like that. So the next time he asked me to call him, I said, what the hell? I called him. Best phone call ever of my life. I went live about it. I said, I have a crush. And I talked about the phone call. I had chills up and down my body with that. It was one of the most amazing phone calls. And it was like immediate attraction. We were talking for just like a few minutes, and then my whole body is like on fire. And I'm like, I really love what he's saying. I love his voice. I am just enthralled with this conversation. It went on for like 2.5, 3 hours. One phone call. I was supposed to be helping my mom do something, and here I was just down in the basement, talking to this guy. And then I was traveling, because I always travel. I got the travel bug from my corporate company that sent me all around the country. I never really stopped once I started working for myself. And I said, well, on my way home, we can meet up. I'll be kind of near you. He was in Illinois. I was heading back to Michigan. We met up in Ohio, and it just went off from there. And so we met from the YouTube channel. So he was watching all my videos. He would watch all of my lives. He was very, I don't want to say obsessed with me, but well, I think he gets notifications to his phone to this day. If I make any post or any comment on Facebook, boop, 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 he gets his phone is notified. I do something on Facebook, his phone goes off. But he followed everything, and and honestly, he's like, I didn't think this is a woman I'm going to go for, because he thought I was a lesbian, because stereotypical looks say I'm a lesbian. So he didn't even think that it was going to be anything, but he loved watching me. He loved the way I would giggle at myself. And it was just so cool, because even though I didn't know him, he knew me. And it was like, I could see all the ways that he loved and adored me without having ever met me. He knew my quirkiness before we met, and he adored it, and he was excited to see it in real life. And so it was just really cool. So our relationship is awesome. I've been going to therapy, so I know it's like very quick. My second marriage was very quick too. I just move quick. I can't go slow. I just can't. It's just not who I am. And I don't think that my second husband was bad. And I don't think my marriage shouldn't have happened. I think it should have. I think it went down exactly the way it needed to. Again, I have the belief that everything is working out in my favor all the time. What I went through in that marriage was exactly what I needed to go through to be the person I am today. And I have nothing but gratitude. Nothing but gratitude. Nor do I hold on to the belief that marriage needs to be one all be all. And if you can't make that relationship work, then you're just a horrible person. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It's fine. I don't base my whole self-worth off of my ability to maintain one single relationship through my entire life. That's BS to me. So I don't care that I've been divorced twice. I don't care that I'm pregnant with the guy after 3 months. Now it's been longer than that, but I trust that everything is working out. It feels good. It feels right. You know, I work with my therapist. My therapist knows exactly what goes on with our relationship. I'm very open and aware of my emotions, you know, like he is of his. Every day is happy, not a struggle. Like I said, that shift, when you go back to the numbers, the jump from April at 1900 to May 7,000 is so much indication of how much energy I was exerting in my marriage. And then you look at the difference between meeting my current, they're both named David. How funny is that? God has such a sense of humor. Meeting my current boyfriend, I jumped 6,000. Like I was drained of 6,000 in my marriage. I jumped 6,000 meeting him and being in a relationship with him. To me, that is a big indication of the type of energy that I put myself around. That one, I was in a very draining relationship, and now I'm in a very thriving relationship. And the money itself speaks to that. And money is simply energy, and money is matching the energy that you're putting out. So to me, it's just very obvious that I'm in a much better, and I know I am. This is not to prove anything, but usually when I go off on a tangent like this, it's because one of you has a question or a thought. And you're like, why come Melissa did this? And then it makes me want to answer it, because there's something called human design. And my sister also teaches this as well. And in human design, it explains how you're designed as a human design. And two of the things about me is I have an open head and I have an open anja. Basically, I can receive other people's thoughts. And this is what also makes me a great instructor, is I will answer people's questions before they have verbally said them, because I already heard them. Now, I don't hear them as Sarah says, blah, blah, blah. I'm not like Edward, where I know who the thought is coming from, where exactly it's coming from. I just receive an idea in my head, or I receive a thought in my head that feels like my own, but it's really coming from someone else. So, for whatever reason, when I go off on a tangent or I start talking about someone else, it's because someone in my audience now or in the future is going to have a thought like, how come Melissa went from a relationship to a relationship? And by the way, I was living single for quite a while. So even though I was in that marriage, working with my therapist, I was like, he never comes out of his room. He's always in his studio. I'm living like I'm single because I have no other choice. And so I was really separated from him. We were just roommates for the last year of our marriage, but highly intensified roommates where we would get into all day trauma bond arguments until I just refused to be a part of them. And then, ultimately he left because I was no longer available to be his therapist for him. So it all worked out for me. And then in this relationship, I'm not expected to be a therapist. He doesn't want me to be a therapist. And honestly, sometimes because of my pregnancy hormones, he's my therapist. Not that he's my therapist so much, but that he just, and it's so, what a powerful shift. In my last relationship, if I was having an emotional day, he took it personal. He was like, you're blaming me. You're making this my problem. You're, all these things. This, if I'm emotional, come here, give me a big hug. He just hugs me. He just holds me. He just holds me. And it's like I could cry. I could sob. I could, and he just holds me. And there's nothing that he needs to say or do. He doesn't have to defend himself. He doesn't have to be, why are you such an emotional mess? You're making this my fault. That was my last relationship. That any type of emotion or feeling I had was a problem for him. In this relationship, he just hugs me. He just holds me. And then my emotion goes through. Our emotions are temporary. They're just temporary things temporary energies within our body that need to be felt for a minute, and then they go. And that's another thing you can learn in the up level class with my sister. You should definitely, if you don't know how to regulate your emotions, you don't know how to capture your mindset and be in charge of your mind, get into up level where you can learn about emotions and not taking someone else's emotions personally. That was my whole second marriage. All emotions were taken personally on both sides. I'm not innocent. It took a lot of therapy, a lot of healing. I even went to the psych ward because I had an emotional, mental breakdown inside my marriage for many different reasons. But that led me to, I must go to therapy weekly. And I was dedicated to going. I was dedicated to getting help. I started reading more books. I started listening to more YouTube. That's when I started really doing the heavy mindset work that led me to be able to start my business. So I have nothing but pure gratitude for my second marriage. Absolutely nothing. All the love and light in the world. I wish you the best. Bye. We were perfect at that time, and we are perfect being over, and it's done. And then you look at my new relationship. Instead of being drained of 6,000, I am making 6,000 extra on top, and it's only getting better. I'm not even at the end yet. So, I was so happy to hear that because I don't want to edit. Now, you don't need to edit videos. I have yet to edit one video. Now, I had somebody who was helping me with my YouTube channel, and he edited a couple videos, but I didn't edit, and it's like 4 or 5, and mostly it was just cutting them up. Okay, so anyway, back to what we were talking about. October. Now, okay, I think I was talking about this. I switched from doing recordings to putting them into class series. So instead of selling $22 for auto, $22 for homeowners, $22 for, flood and umbrella, I put them all together in packages because now I had so many recordings available that I grouped them all together, and I made 3 different levels of recordings, basically, and class series. So I put them in order of how they should be watched. I had my smaller videos all grouped together for $27, my slightly longer videos grouped together for $57, and then my most in-depth videos available for $97. And making that shift was huge because there was a lot more understanding from my customers about what I was doing. So instead of having to buy individual class here, maybe all grouped as a bundle, which one should I watch first? I did all that work for them. So I put them into bundles. Again, I wanted to be easily affordable. $27 is my lowest package. And what's crazy is that each of those classes was originally sold for $27 each. So when my customers buy a $27 bundle, they're getting like $200 worth of stuff in a $27 bundle. And then I have the 3 bundles. So that was a big shift for me, going to selling the individual random recordings all over the place to putting them into set series that people can buy at 3 different price points. And again, ending with the 7 or a 9 is just good for marketing. It's just one of the numbers that people love to see when they buy something. It's like, oh, it's not 100, it's 999. Like, it just changes people's mind. It's like they don't feel like it's 1,000 when it's 997. So that's why I price what I do. And I learned that from Christine, big corporate, business person who understood all this, and she helped me with my marketing. So that was October. So YouTube was 1,570. Excel was 160. So that was my partnership. More, about the same number of enrollments for Excel. So again, I went from recordings to class series, and I had $1,000 days in the past because I had one-on-one clients who would pay me $1,000 themselves. I think my biggest day prior to this was $1,700, where I had an agency amount come in. I had a one-on-one client, and then I had my class recordings, and that ended up to $1,700. And that was like one of my biggest days. I think that was back in like May or June sometime. But October, the day that I released my class series, was the first day that I made $1,000 just from my recordings. Nothing extra, just from my recordings. And that was the first day I released it. So that was such a good, wow, this is possible. And I had been saying for a while, Because before this, so my most expensive bundle previous was 111. And now I was doing 97 instead of 111. But basically $100, right? And I was like, that's just 10 students a day. 10 people studying a day at $100, that's $1,000 day. And I started repeating it to myself over and over again. $1,000 day every day, $1,000 day every day, 10 new students a day, $1,000 day every day. So when I made these class series, which completely changed the game for me, and I had $1,000 out the gate, I was like, hells yeah, like this is amazing. So that was the first time I had $1,000 day. And then even the next day was like 970. So my daily sales started to go up. When I was selling piece by piece, my average sales was around 200 to 300, and now we're much high. We're in the average is well, we'll get there. Well, I'm getting a lot of $1,000 days, and if you've been following my posts, you know that we're damn near close to that every single day. All right. Yep. So YouTube, I had 1,100 subscribers that month alone, and 17,000 watch hours. That's nuts in 1 month. Then we moved into November. Now, November had a little bit of a dip because November is the month that I moved from Las Vegas to Illinois. I was scammed by the moving company. I was going through a lot with my family, my daughter specifically. So I have an adopted daughter, and I got her as a teenager, so she has she has history prior to us meeting. I was not necessarily the best mother when we first met because I had a lot of trauma myself, and I have since made so many changes. I reflect upon my parenting all the time. But November was a very tough month for the two of us together and moving out here. Originally, she was going to move out here with me. I didn't do any classes. All I did was the class series. So basically, no live classes. My engagement was down a little bit because I was focused on the move. I was going to have a business move me, and then I had to move myself. I had to drive a U-Haul across the country. It was a very, very trying time, and I still made $16,000. So again, I focus on what is the next right step, and that's just what I focused on during that time. I'm not, like I said before, my life is not all peaches and cream. There are days where I got some mold up in that, the peaches, it's not all perfect. But I just do my best to handle the next right moment, the next right step. And one of the things is just, what is the next best feeling from here? So even if I'm, feeling depressed, well, anger is even a little bit better. And if I can feel angry over depressed, that's a good day. And I learned that in the up level class, right? Because anger is actually a better vibration than depression is. And if you could be angry instead of depressed, it's better. So any feeling that I could get a little bit better than down in the pit's bottom barrel, I would just reach for that. And then November was also, I was pregnant, and I hadn't really told anybody yet because it was so new. I was dealing with the move. I was stressed. I was nauseous 24/7. I was the nausea. I had to keep a protein bar next to my bed so that I would not throw up as soon as I woke up. Like I had to eat before I even got out of bed. So that was going through a lot that month. And so I wasn't, like I said, wasn't very engaged, but numbers are still great, right? So 16,000, 1,066 of that was coming from YouTube. And now my partnership, now that I have more customers coming to me, and more new people. So a big chunk of my audience is people who already tested and already failed. People who are getting Excel are brand new. And so this has been slowly building up, but we started at 120 and now we're at 400. That's just going to keep going. There's no reason that in the future checks from Excel won't be in the $5,000 a month minimum once we're up and big running. And what's really cool is that today I finally recorded a YouTube ad. So now we're actually going to start advertising on YouTube and other channels to get people to my channel and or people on my channel to my website, because it's not always very clear. That's another thing. Is this not, I'm not the best. I started, because remember I said I didn't make videos every week. So many of my old videos were email me at Insurance Exam Queen, and join my Facebook group. If I remember to say it. right? Most of my videos were just me teaching and not even asking them to subscribe, not encouraging them to contact me. And if they did contact me, it was my email, not even to my website. And then I changed websites. It's not very clear to people all the time where to go, but people still find it. People still find my class series. My sales are still coming in. Again, I broke all the rules. I'm not following the rules that everyone says you need. I don't have an email list. I barely email people. I don't email people. And I have so many emails available. So that's one of the next steps that we'll be taking is using my email list a little bit better. But again, I don't follow the rules. I just do me. I just trust. Do me, trust. Do me, trust. That's how I roll, and it's all been working out. All right, so that was November. Then December. 11 months in. Now, if you've added them up, if you added up the numbers, it was in November that we crossed, yeah, I think so. I originally messed up the numbers. I forgot to put in the Excel numbers, the 400. So I'm pretty sure that if I had added those in, then because when I first looked at the numbers, I was at 99,000 in total up to November. So I knew that the first week of December, we passed the 100,000 mark. Like, duh. But I think if I had added in Excel, we would have hit it in November. So I'm pretty sure we actually were six figures in November. So then December rolls in. December, $20,000. Almost $21,000. We hit six figures. I was still doing classes. Now I was back to doing classes. I kind of took the month of November off. And then still selling my class series. That's my main thing, is selling the class series. Bronze, gold, or silver, all of them going to help you pass. So I've been selling the class series on my website. So the daily sales come in. So December was a total of 20,000. We had YouTube was 1,264 of that. And then Excel was 440. So that's still, going up, working on that partnership. YouTube subscribers were 836 in total. Or for that month, and then watch hours were 13,200. Like, isn't it so? You need 1,000 subscribers to be monetized and 4,000 watch hours. I'm like now hitting that plus some every month, right? Not necessarily. I haven't hit this 1,000 subscribers in a month yet, but we're getting there. So that was December. Now January. January is gonna blow your socks off. We're not even in a full month yet, right? So we're at this, the numbers end on the 16th because I'm doing it today. Now, technically, my full year is going to be the 18th. So tomorrow is one full year of being the insurance exam queen, running my own business. We hit the six-figure mark 10, 11 months in. Started at $220. Don't forget, we started at $220. And now, in the month of January, between the 1st and the 16th, 14,000. Actually, it's a little bit more than that because YouTube estimated right now is $729, right? They don't pay me until the month is done. Excel, with my current numbers on Excel, it's going to be $120. So I haven't gotten these monies yet, but that's what the current amount is. So do you see how close? 16 days, 14,000. Do you see how close that is to $1,000 day every day? January is going to end real close to 30, if not more. So 30,000 in 1 month, 1 year later. 1 year later, 30,000 a month. That is, again, my teaching salary when I was a middle school teacher. My teaching salary at the corporate company was a little bit better. Well, 30,000 would be half. In 1 month, I am making half of my corporate teaching salary. So 16 days, 14,000. That is damn near $1,000 days every day. And especially if you didn't count the weekends, right? If we counted business days, we're at $1,000 days, business days already. But I mean, I get sales on the weekends, so I'm going to count the weekends. So, and I think it should be every day. I'm $1,000 day, every day, $1,000 day, every day, $1,000 day, every day. And remember, me too, you too. So this is something that's possible for you. So in classes, I did some live classes already this month, and then I did some class series. Now, what's also really cool about January and December is I finally really started my own groove of things. So like with teaching, you have the state exam content outline, and I've been teaching kind of like according to that, like definition, and then like chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. But I as a teacher know that something in chapter 1 actually attaches to something in chapter 3, and everyone teaches them separately because that's the exam content outline. I'm starting to merge things. And so I really started to play around a lot with the way that I'm teaching. And I really love the way that it's going. And I will have, so like right now, my class series are class recordings. And I am going to be actually making what I call clean videos where there's no students in them. There's no questions. There's no interruptions. So I'm working on a whole new type of curriculum that I'm building, and I'm really excited for that. I also got an agency reached out to me, and he has around 200 people a month who need to study and pass the exam. 200 people at my 200 more people in my world is 20 grand. So if he brings the people into my world, that's another 20 grand on top of my 30,000 that I'm already doing. 25 to 30,000 what I'm already doing. So we're looking at damn near $50,000-$60,000 months here. And if it doesn't work out with his agency, I know another one's coming. The beautiful thing about this, and this is again going back to kind of that $1,000 client, my first $1,000 client, she told me I'll pay you $1,000 to sit with me. She didn't show up. She ghosted me. I didn't worry. I didn't fret. I didn't freak out. So, oh well. She shows up. She does actually pay the $1,000. Then I get more $1,000 clients. Once you have the belief that it's possible, you can see the evidence of it. And this is what Christine likes to call driftwood, that any evidence of what someone else is going through means it's possible for you. So you like raise your set point. So my set point when I first started was about $30 an hour. And that because that's what I was making in my corporate company, and that's what I felt I could be charging. Then I started getting more and more people. I started teaching a class. Teaching the class put me at $74 an hour. I could start charging more an hour. And then eventually I got to the point where I, can believe and see that I should be getting $1,000 for 4 hours. Okay. Like your set point changes. So this agency that I'm potentially going to work with is talking about 20 to 40 grand a month, depending on how many people he brings in, just from him alone, not what I'm doing. So this is on top of what I'm doing. Now, whether it works out for him or not, I know that it's simply possible. If it's possible with him, it could be possible with anyone else. So whether it works out with him, it don't matter. It can work out with someone else. Or another way of me receiving 20 or 40,000 is like once you I could make $1 million in a month. I know that. But at the same time, we're still working within our bodies and in our programmed, conditioned mindset. And so it could be really hard to simply manifest $1 million when we are still stuck with our programming and our conditioning. So what becomes really cool is when you begin to see the evidence of what's possible and you can raise your belief system, it becomes easier to manifest that in. So this is another thing too, where I didn't, again, having been such a poor teacher for so long, my first year teaching salary, $35,000. And then eventually it was around $40,000. When I went to the corporate company for the corporate training, I went from 30 to 50 and eventually 60 something by the time I left. That blew my mind that I was able to make that much. But then I raised my set point of what was possible. I was like, well, now I'm making $60,000 a year. It's like I knew that I could already receive that. So now making 6 figures, one of the things that helped me get to that set point was I had a potential job offer. So when I was still working for the corporate company, there was an insurance company that would use the corporate company I was with, and they would request me to be their teacher. And they opened a position at their company for a teacher, specifically exactly what I do. And I was like, oh my God, like I'm a total shoo-in for that. But I bet it's a pretty low salary, so I wasn't even interested. But then, someone's like, well, why don't you ask? I was like, sure, let me ask. So I asked, and they said 95 to 100,000. And I was like, I'm a shoo-in for that job. They always request me to be their instructor. There's no way they wouldn't hire me. I could make that. And then my belief system started to change. I can make 100,000. I deserve 100,000. Like, it makes sense. I'm the most requested instructor. I have incredible pass rates. Of course, I should make 100,000. And that potential job offer raised my set point, my belief system that I should be earning 100,000. And that job didn't work out. It didn't even, it was over before it even really, like, because the hiring, and ultimately that worked in my favor, because would I want to be in another 9-to-5 job with a corporate company? No, I wouldn't. I would much rather have the life of freedom that I have now. I'm so glad that job didn't work out. I'm so grateful it didn't work out. And I am so grateful that it raised my set point that I'm worthy and deserving of 100,000 a year. Now, so when this agency came in, potential 20 to 40,000 a month, whether it's him or someone else, I now know my set point is I should be making 70, 80,000 a month. And then it's going to be 70 to 1,080 a day, $100,000 a day. The corporate companies are in the 45 millions, and I teach it better than they do. So it's when you get that evidence into your life, when you get the belief, like, and this is where you can say, well, if she did it, I can do it. Now, going back, I think I started talking about this and then I got sidetracked. Yes, I teach about the insurance exam, but it's not the content, it's me. And it's not what you're doing, it's you, okay? There are other people who teach the insurance exam on YouTube, and they have their audience. And there are people who may find me and not like me because, I'm quirky, I'm weird, I laugh at myself, I don't edit my videos, I don't have the best sound quality. So there are people who don't like me and aren't in my world for those reasons. My point is that there's somebody for everybody. And if you have a passion and a desire to talk about what you want to talk about, there is an audience for that. You have that desire in you because there are people who want to hear it. So whether you want a YouTube channel on talking about your life, you want a YouTube channel on teaching people how to cook, you want a YouTube channel on teaching people how to run a small business, you want a YouTube channel on talking about Excel sheets, like, I don't care what it is. There is an audience for whatever it is you want to talk about. And when you decide that I am worthy and deserving of having my own life of freedom, of having my own business, you will find the evidence that it is possible. And the evidence that it is possible will give you the motivation and the momentum to jump into it. And then you jump into it and then you get more evidence, you get more momentum, and it just steamrolls from there, just like my business did. Just like my business. So the main thing I did was, again, this is the strategy, this is the system. Put little videos on YouTube. Sell longer classes. Sell the recordings of those classes. Put those classes together in a series. Sell the series. Have a Facebook group where you put people into. Communicate with them. Build the community. Build the community. Community. It's very simple. I'm not doing anything super crazy, weird, or different. Anything that is not known to anybody. People watch my YouTube channel, feed them into my Facebook group. I build a community. I build a community with them. Community. What is that trying to say? What am I trying to say there? Community. Community is the key. Yes. Having a community is key. Right? So I'll have people who come into my world and they're like, I don't want to pay for a class series. She's got free stuff on YouTube. Then they see in my Facebook group, I pass using the gold system. I pass watching the gold. Get the gold. Gold is worth the money. Get the gold. It's so amazing. My customers sell for me. I have not had to make an advertisement. I haven't had to. The customers who get my stuff will then sing my praises because they absolutely love it. Because it's me putting myself out there and trusting and knowing that what I put out there is valuable to my customers. And it is. And then they are the ones who sell it for me. It's magical. It's amazing. And it's not something I ever would have thought was possible if I had worried about the how. My how was like, how do I edit videos? I was like, not going to worry about it. I'm just going to do what I like to do. I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to run with it. And I'm going to trust and know that it's all working out. And it did. Okay? The same thing can happen for you. Maybe it's pregnancy syndrome, community. I think community is the key, though. Community is the key, right? So I build a community. I comment on, if someone comments on my YouTube channel, I'm commenting back. Someone makes a Facebook post, I'm commenting on that Facebook post. I'm interacting, I'm engaging with my community and encouraging them, telling them how to help them. I'm never not available to answer a question. At some point, if we get too big, things will change. I'll have to hire some admin and stuff. But and it's not exhausting to me. I don't do much work, right? The majority of what I'm doing, I already did it. I sold tickets to live classes. I got the recorded videos of those. I post those for sale, and then I tell people about it. That's what I do. Buy this class series. It's going to teach you all the most tested topics. You got one for $27, $57, $97. What's your budget? That's it. That's it. It's super simple. So the strategy for you, whatever business you're doing, go on YouTube, go live on Facebook, talk about what it is you want to talk about, begin to sell tickets to either one-on-ones or classes, right? And I started $33 an hour. I didn't stay there. I started there. So if you're talking about you want to coach people, you want to talk about human design, you want to talk about energy, you want to talk about mindset, you want to talk about whatever it is that you want, charge one-on-one $33 an hour. I don't care. Start somewhere. Then start offering classes on those topics so that more people can come in, record those classes, sell the copy of those recordings, eventually get enough recordings that you put them in a course together, sell the course. It's exactly what I did. And it could be on any topic. Because think about this. There are so many entrepreneurs now. So many entrepreneurs. And what you do at your corporate company right now is probably something that a small business owner would need to know. Customer management. Are you really good at customer service? You could teach customer service on YouTube. Are you really good at running reports and capturing things? Like you can even find entrepreneurs to work with. Like there's times where I'll go look on YouTube, how do I do something? And then I might reach out to that person and say, can I hire you to do this for my business? Right? Putting yourself out there is key. And you could do that on YouTube. You could do that on Facebook. Can you imagine if I got on TikTok? I'm not really on TikTok. I'm not. And there are so many people on TikTok. And if Facebook is my jam, and that's where I stay. Now, I do have some videos on TikTok because at one point there was a girl taking my YouTube videos and putting them on TikTok for me, or I would record a couple of them, but I'm not even on one of the biggest platforms, and I'm still pulling in 16 days in $14,000. $14,000 in 16 days. Just off of Facebook and YouTube. That's it. The two things that are so commonly used by people. People don't realize the power of YouTube and that it's so freaking simple. It's so freaking simple. Okay? It's not that hard. There are so many watchers. So many people who are on YouTube looking for something, looking for you and your story. So put it out there. I cannot believe I made it exactly in the 2 hours. So we're at 1 hour, 58 minutes. Does anybody have any questions? So I saw some comments, but most of them were just congratulations, woohoo, all the good stuff. I didn't see any questions. So if anybody does have any questions, let me know. Again, if you're watching this on the YouTube channel, my Facebook is where it's all at. So, I mean, by all means, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Stay on the YouTube channel. I will always put my recordings here, but I love to go live on Facebook. At some point, I will figure out the technology to go live on YouTube and Facebook at the same time. I know it's possible. But you can also, interact with me on my Facebook page. I plan to be very big and famous and helping everybody that I can and sharing my story as widely as I can. So feel free to join my world and come be a part of this magic where we believe in ourselves, we trust in ourselves, we jump into the unknown, and we build the life of freedom that we want for ourselves. If I could do it, you could do it. I come from a very crazy background, a traumatized background. I was at a boarding school for troubled youth that was very traumatizing. It's been on the news. A lot of people come out of that and they're in depression and addiction, and I'm not. And it's because I choose to heal from my trauma. I choose to trust in the divine power that is available to all of us. I choose to trust in my desires. I don't live saturated in the chaos of my past trauma. We all go through something. We all go through something. And I'm not trying to minimize it. I'm not trying to say that you should have gone through it, but I'm saying don't let it be what runs your life today. Every single day is a new day. Every single moment is a new moment. And you get to choose how that moment is going to be. And the predominant thoughts that you are thinking create your reality. The predominant feelings you are feeling create your reality. And you get to choose what you do with your thoughts, and you get to choose what you do with your feelings. You get to choose. We've been stuck on autopilot because as children, nobody taught us. We didn't know. And that's okay. But now you get to know. Now you get to learn that you get to choose your thoughts. You get to choose what you do with your emotions and your feelings. And you get to choose to trust into your divine power and create the life of freedom that you want, whatever that looks like, whatever that ends up looking like. Okay? There are some of you that have artwork. Do your artwork. Trust that your artwork is going to be whatever it needs to be to create the life of freedom that you want. Okay? It's not about trying to figure out the how. It's not about the strategy. It's about trusting that if you follow your desires and your passions, the strategy and the how will come to you. It's not first, it's second. The first is the full trust in yourself that it is entirely possible, however it may end up being or becoming or showing itself. Trust in yourself first. Know that your desires are there because they want to be had. Your desires are God-given, divine-given. You get to have your desires. You get to make the millions. You get to be the best-selling author. You get to be Facebook famous and YouTube famous. That's all the things I want to be, and it's all the things that are happening. It's happening. Did I know how? No. I'm just doing it, and I'm trusting, and it's happening. Whatever your desire is, whatever your passion is, do that. And the answers will come in when you trust. When you live in the trauma, when you live in the past, when you live in the fears, worries, and doubts, you will continue to get fears, worries, and doubts, and you will continue to get more trauma. But when you live in the faith and the trust and the belief that there is better, that your life can be better, your life becomes better. And I am pure evidence of that. Pure evidence of that. I had a crazy childhood, an abusive father, very controlling, very manipulative. I had an abusive stepmother who would always separate me, isolate me. I was assaulted in middle school. I was assaulted again in high school with a videotape made and circulated, right? I was Kim Kardashian before she was. Back in high school. We would have been arrested today for that kind of stuff, for child pornography. All of that led me going to boarding school. In boarding school, it was extremely abusive, like very abusive, the way that they operated. I was there for 2 years. I was watched how I put on my bra. I was watched when I went to the bathroom. I was made to undress in front of other children to humiliate me. I was left to shovel cow poop for hours on end with one peanut butter sandwich to sustain me and a cup of milk. I've been through some stuff. I had cancer while I was there. I had thyroid cancer. All of these things could have determined that I would be an addict, that I would be depressed, that I would just be sad every single day if I relive that trauma, replay it in my mind, and make it my entire life and my focus. I'm not saying you just switch to positive thinking. I'm saying, because I tried that, it didn't work. It doesn't work. You got to heal those wounds. You got to heal that trauma. You got to make peace with your past. And you got to know that it cannot be the driver of your life. It cannot be how you operate every day. It's not an easy journey. You can certainly make it quicker. I didn't shout her out, but one of the best things that I did in this journey was rapid transformation therapy, RTT. And I have the most amazing RTT therapist, Alina. She's in the chat. Alina, I'm probably going to say your last name wrong. Let me scroll to find it. Alina Pass. Hang on. Oh, I can't see that. I can't scroll up far enough. But if you want to know, Alina is my RTT therapist, rapid transformation therapy. She goes right to the source of where your trauma is coming from and helps you to remove it out of your programming and your conditioning. Absolutely amazing. There's things that you can do when you're living in worry, fear, and doubt. You're living in worry, fear, and doubt. When you're living in trust, freedom, and joy, you're living in trust, freedom, and joy. It is literally that simple. And it's the choices that you make that will determine what happens in your reality. And when you make the choices to heal that trauma, when you make the choices to make peace with the past, that you can begin living your life today in the present. When you live in trauma, you're living in the past. When you live in the present, you're living in the present. And a present is the present. That's why it is called the present. It is your gift. Every single day is a gift. I feel like I'm just going on preaching and I'm saying the same things, but I wish somebody had said this to me. I wish it didn't take years for me of figuring this out myself. I wish we had more understanding of mental health. I know this video was about building a business, but it's so much more than that. Because I never could have built a business if I was stuck in my trauma. If I was stuck in the way that I was raised as a child with manipulation and control, with worry. I had to constantly be vigilant of how my father was thinking and feeling and acting to protect myself. Constantly vigilant. And that's what creates worry and anxiety in adults. So when you leave that childhood, that is gone, but the programming is still there. The looking for the worry is still there. The looking for the worst possible scenario is still there. You have to deprogram that stuff. You have to decondition yourself from doing that. And you have to switch from looking for the worst possible scenario to trusting that the best possible scenario is happening. And what you predominantly think about is what you're going to predominantly see in your life. So when you can switch those thought processes, when you can switch your mindset, when you can understand that the worry, fear, and doubt is coming from past situations that are no longer active today, and you can flip them and you can switch them, you can create and build the life that you want. And if someone had said that to me, that simply, I trust in divine timing. Everything is as it needs to be. But that was the message I wanted to hear. I spent years watching other classes. Like, I would buy classes on how to start a business. I would buy classes on writing a book. I would buy things, watch them, and nothing ever landed. Nothing ever worked for me. And it's because it was my internal belief system and my conditioning that was preventing me from being able to even access this new knowledge. It wasn't until I went inward. It wasn't about the strategy of running a business. Everything I taught you today will not work. It will not work if you operate on worry, fear, and doubt. It won't. It won't. You can't run a business like I did as quickly as I did on worry, fear, and doubt. It won't work. And you can change the worry and the fear and the doubt. You can flip that. All you have to do is flip it. All you have to do. There's so many things you have to do. You got to heal the trauma. You got to work on it. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's possible. It can be easy. If you believe it can be easy, it can be easy. It can. It's simply a belief system. And what you think about, what you repeatedly put in your environment is what you're going to repeatedly get back. RTT, Eckhart Tolle, Dr. Joe Dispenza. These are some of and then my sister teaching you about emotions. These are some of the top things that I can recommend that will help you with switching all of this. It's not the strategy. It's not the how. That's why I'll give it away for free. Start a YouTube channel, make a Facebook group, work in the community, sell tickets to live classes, sell one-on-ones, put it in a recording, sell it as a class series. That's the how. That's the strategy. It's so super simple. But if you have worry, fear, and doubt, you won't do it. Doesn't matter about the strategy. Doesn't matter at all. You can buy a book right now, Building a Business for Dummies. Exact strategy. Worry, fear, and doubt will stop you every single time. It's not about the strategy. It's not about the how. It's about what belief system are you holding in your body. That's the belief system you're going to see happening in your world. And until you can change the belief system that is happening in your body, you can't change your world. Radical changes require radical changes. Super simple. Radical changes require radical changes. And if you want to change what is happening on the outside, you've got to change what is happening on the inside, which requires radical changes in behavior, radical changes in thought, radical changes in what you're consuming, both food and visually. If you're watching people talk, like I don't watch the news. I have not watched the news in years. None of that is benefiting me. It's not. It's not. If I'm watching news about how awful the world is and how we have all of these problems, that is the reality I'm going to continue to see. When I turn off the news, I built a 6-figure business. Boom. You know how much more help I can be to anybody who is struggling in the news by having a lot of money to help them? Way different. Way different. What you consume, both food-wise, and I'm not a preacher of healthy, I eat my donuts, okay? But generally speaking, I eat good food, right? I have a lot of veggies. I have a lot of fruits. I'm careful about, too much bread and things like that, but we make it so much about the diet. It's not necessarily about the diet, but it does matter. It does matter. And when you're just feeding yourself sugar and fast food because it's an escape or it's easy and you don't want to have to cook food for yourself, that's not good. It's not good for you. It's not. And whatever it is you're eating builds your body. Just like whatever it is that you're consuming visually on TV and stuff like that, you're building your mindset. You're building your belief system, or you're sustaining it. So like people who watch the news all day long, like what are you consuming? So anyway, I'm gonna end it here because I can go all day. And that's what this YouTube channel is going to be, is me talking about this stuff, talking about, what it is that I'm doing within my business, but it will always come back to mindset every single time. It'll always come back to belief system every single time. It'll always come back to our programming conditioning every single time. It ain't the how, it ain't the strategy. It's the belief system and the mindset that you are operating with. Because anybody can do anything. Anybody can do anything. Whatever your desire is, you can do it. But your belief system will determine if it will actually come to fruition or not. And if your belief system is built on worry, fear, and doubt, it won't be built. You'll just get more worry, more fear, more doubt. You have to change the belief system. You have to stop looking for the worries and start looking for the positive stuff. And not even just positive, but just that it's possible. If I can, you can. Okay? And I surrounded myself with people who were making $100,000 in a day. And watching all that happen, watching the success of that, watching the money roll in for them. It's like, if her, then me too. If them, me too. If Kylie Jenner can do it, I can do it. If her, why not me? It's not a competition. It's not being angry at someone else. It's not about being envious at someone else. All of those are worry, fear, and doubt feelings. They're not going to help you. I celebrate anybody who has the type of success that they want. Like there are people who will, I was watching this video of this woman planning out her wedding and she's like, yeah, it's like a $10,000 cake. People are like, oh my God, $10,000 on a piece of cake that people are going to eat? Well, to her, that's like a penny. It's all perception. It's all perception. And if you spend more time angry about how someone else spent money because you don't have that money, you ain't making any. If you're angry at what someone else has, how are you ever get it? And you can't get it if you attach anger to it. If you attach anger to someone else making a lot of money, you're blocking yourself from making that kind of money. So I celebrate it. I say amen that she spent $10,000 on a cake, because that means one day I can have to. I mean, I don't know that I ever would, but maybe. I don't know. I'm not going to limit myself. I'm not. I don't want to. If it's possible for them, it's possible for me too. Celebrate her, celebrate me. If they can do it, so can I. It's so simple, and we make it so complex because of our worry, fear, and our doubt. So, I said I'm going to end it. 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 Get with my sister Sarah if you are struggling with your worry, fear, and doubt. If you don't know how to manage your emotions, if you don't know how to switch your mindset, she will get you on board, started with that. Read books, Jen Sincero, Dr. Joe Dispenza. Listen to YouTube channels, Aaron Doughty, Victor Odo. I didn't even really listen to their YouTube, but I've seen them, and I liked what they said in their world, and then I joined their program. But I know that what they have to say is very powerful. Meditate every day. That's one of the biggest shifts. That's how we learn how to shut down our worry, fear, and doubt and switch to change our thinking, because you have the power to change your thoughts. I know that like something we think that what we're thinking is like us, but it's not actually us. It's a thought that's running, and you can change the thought. And that like The Untethered Soul is a book that teaches that. But probably the simplest, most effective, down to earth way is with my sister. And I didn't even plan. It's not like I planned to talk about her or to promote her, but I'm just like that. This helps so much. It helps so much. I went through her course. It helps. And then someone asked that question. I was like, you know what? Who would be perfect for that? It's my sister. She does all that. So yeah, so I think she posted it, what she offers and what she's doing. She just released the boot camp, and she normally only ever did it in person locally in Arizona. So now that she's doing it online and making it accessible to everybody, I'm really excited about that, because so many people can benefit. We were not taught how to manage our emotions. We were not taught how to control our thoughts. We were not taught that we are powerful beings. And it's time to learn that, because that's how you access and create the life that you want. You are the author of your life. What you think about, what you write about, what you believe can happen will happen. And I believe, and it is happening, that I will be Facebook famous, YouTube famous, best-selling author with books published all around the world, that I will have a huge audience, that people will, I will be like Tony Robbins on a stage with people paying high ticket prices to come listen and talk and hear from me. I see it. I believe it. I'm building that life right now. It's happening. I don't need to worry about the how. How do I be a Tony Robbins? I'm just doing me. And it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Of course. As Christine Hayes would say, of course. So anyway, love you all. I normally say all the loves, all the vibes to pass your exam. But I think I'm just going to say all the loves, all the vibes to live your best life. I love you so much. Have a fantastic evening.